Alright, so we got the truck up in the air, and for some reason, let me get my light on here, the axle even starts to slide off the splines. It won't even stay attached. Last one I had, that was actually a little worse than this one, but this thing actually moves a lot more than it looks in the video here. Actually, there. That's all it was sitting when I got in here. This thing is wore out on the end. It doesn't even bite the clip anymore. The last one I had would actually chatter back and forth quite a bit. This one's not quite as bad as that one. But we'll get that shaft changed out, get the end of this front diff off, and pull that apart. So I got the piece out, the end of the front diff there. Kind of a bugger. This one was being the Eco Diesel, so that top bolt was actually a pain in the butt on this left side here. There's 4 bolts in there. Let's pop all that out. And you just gotta take that mount off. That goes right there. Get that light here so you can see a little better. Yeah, that mount has 2 bolts in it on this side, and has some 4 bolts and has some silicone on it. But yeah, that top bolt was a little bit of a pain with that oil pan being so close. But we got her. Get her out over here. So yeah, there were the 4 bolts that take the end of it off. Now I just gotta pop this cover off. As you can see, the C-clip's kind of wore out a little bit, I guess. This one's not nearly as bad as the other one I worked on. The other one didn't even have splines on the end left. So we'll get that changed out and get her back in. Alright, so we got it apart. Just had 1 snap ring in here. Had to pull that off, and then the axle, the inner shaft there goes out the bottom. Had to get that cover off or whatever here to get that out, obviously. Then I had to pop the seal out because the new kit does come with a new seal, I believe. Yes, it does. So you got the new seal, new snap ring. Probably not going to change out the little bearing because that one seems okay. But we are going to have to press on this big one that's in there. So I will get that all figured out here, and then we'll jump to that. Alright, so I got my sweet contraption here. I thought I had a pipe. I don't know where it went. So I took two pieces of angle iron, stacked it. We just need to get that bearing tight down to the bottom here. Usually I use the air for most stuff, but to be safe, we're going to just use it by hand. Okay, so maxed out. I don't want to give it too much more. Out here.
No advanced preparation is necessary. Most students will rehearse 4 hours, 15 minutes each day. Performances are scheduled for Saturday, January 17th at 2. For more information, contact Gary at 715-411. This production is part of the Missoula Children's Theater's unique international.
So the main thing, well, there's a groove right here, which I didn't show you on the other one. There's a snap ring that actually goes in that. So we needed to get that down past that so we can put that snap ring back on. Now we're gonna go back to the bench. Alright. So like I said, we gotta get that snap ring on, but I just wanna show you how good, you can kind of see in the picture there in the video, how good and defined those are. These are full of gunk, but this is all rounded off from the axle being not tight whatsoever. The last one, actually, like I said before, was so ground off you couldn't even tell with splines on there. And when I looked it up, it's a pretty common thing actually on these Dodges, I guess. So anyway, we're gonna get the C-clip on now. So we got the C-clip in there. Now we get the snap ring on here. Sure there's a better way of doing it than I'm doing it, but snap rings on. Yeah, remember where that seal went. Pretty sure it's right there. Oh, a little bit different. Should almost put that on first. Okay, I think that's that. Actually, that might go right there. Okay. So we got the snap ring on. Got the retainer, O-ring. Slide it back in. So it actually goes back through. Before I do that, almost forgot. I just want to put a little bit of gear oil in there just so it's not dry. Just put a little bit on the bearing there just so it's not 100% dry going in there. Also don't want to put a bunch in there right now, so I got a big mess. super dry going in there. Anyway, so we're gonna slide that back in. Put that like that. I'm actually gonna put it like this. Hold it here for a second. So we're actually gonna put that snap ring in now. But I have to flip this around quick. These are a little small for this application, but they do the trick. I'm actually gonna have to turn it a little bit here so I can see it. I actually have to tap it in here. Looks like we got her. So that snap ring goes right along this groove in here. It holds the axle from coming back out. Always got to put the seal and that shield back on. Get the cover cleaned up area cleaned up, and then get her back in there. Probably should have did this before I put it back together, but sometimes it happens. So everything's good. I'm gonna clean this area up, clean that area up, and we're gonna get her back in. All right, guys. I did not record putting it all back together, just for the fact of kind of same thing as taking it apart. So I was just gonna go over and show you everything's in, and all we gotta do is add fluid, put tire on, and be good to go. So, and we put a new axle in it, just for the fact of the end was getting a little slopped out from that end being so loose, so we put the whole new axle in it. Got that whole housing back in there. That one up there was still, let me get my light quick. That bolt up there was still kind of a bugger. Getting it back in on the top there. I just used a really long extension to get to it, but still getting it started was kind of a pain. We got her back in. Just gotta add some fluid, put tire on, we're good to go.